welcome to video number, I think we're on about 23. My regular viewer will know that I've only been into Harleys for about 5 years now, so I'm relatively new. Started off with a 1980 Ironhead Sportster, which was hard work. And when my circumstances changed and I had to commute 25 miles each way along a motorway, the Sportster wasn't really up to it. So I decided that I'd get a better one. Excuse me, I'm on the dying embers of a cold here. And I bought the Evo, the Striper. This was streets ahead of the Ironhead. And I thought this was brilliant, and I used that for a long time. Regular people will remember it. Look, we'll have a quick look. That's this one here. There we are. I've been saying it's a 1999 because that's what I was told from the dealership. But when I see the registration documents the other day, I noticed it's actually 1998. So that makes it a bit near of being a historic vehicle, I suppose. Anyway, I made the tactical blunder of taking a test demo bike out the other day while they were working on my bike. I think we're changing the tyre or something like that. And I took their demo Lowrider ST out, which is of course an M8, and it was brilliant. I loved it. People say, oh, the M8 doesn't vibrate like a proper Harley and all this sort of stuff. But personally, being relatively new, the older bikes always feel like they're struggling. They will cruise at 70 or 80, but they always feel like they're struggling. Whereas the M8 just went, well, you're no problem at all, and off it went. It's about 116 brake horse from the 117 motor. But I just thought, oh, I've missed this acceleration from the previous bikes, BMWs I've had and things like that. And I just fell in love with the bike. So I had to have one. And after a lot of hard work, I managed to pick up the last Iron Horse Grey unregistered Lowrider ST in the country. We know it is because due to a cock-up, an administration cock-up from the dealership, the bike they got in mind turned out to be a Lowrider S, not a Lowrider ST. So they had to go to a rival dealership and look around to find one, and they only managed to find one bike which had already been had the pre-delivery inspection done on it. So they had to pay this rival people to sell it to them with this work done. So anyway, let's have a look at it, and we'll have a quick run around it, and I'll show you what I've had done to it before the old sun goes down, because it's just about, you can see it just disappearing over the horizon there, and it's getting dark, or we'll start too soon. Right, so here we are. What's the best way of looking at it? We can stand back and have a look here. So you can see it's a 2025 model, which means it has symmetrical panniers and a 2-into-1 exhaust. That's one of the improvements. Everybody said, why don't they put a 2-into-1 exhaust on it instead of 2-into-2 and no silly pannier? So I was pleased with that. You can see it's pretty much standard overall at the moment, but improvements I've done, you have to ignore that. That's just dust off the garage floor, look, because the builders were crap and they put too much water in the cement, so it's all dusty. But anyway, so you can see I've got bar risers on it. So where are they? There we are. Look, they're about 7 inches now instead of the original 5-inch. So that's lifted the bars up a touch. I've got a sat nav. I've got a Garmin sat nav, and they plumbed that in for me and ran the cables nicely under the tank and connected it to a switch live. So when you switch the bike off here, the power goes for that as well. So this isn't permanently on as a parasitic drain if you don't take the sat nav off. You can see the the 2025 Speedo. The 24 and backwards had a little digital Speedo in here where you had to lean forward and peer down at 70 miles an hour to see what you were doing, whereas this one is instantly obvious what's going on. There's a petrol gauge. Well, in fact, I'll switch it on. Look, I've got the key in my pocket, so we'll let it do its little Clever Dick pretty colours thing there. So you can see Speedo around the top, which is instantly easy to look at. There's your petrol across there. The bars gradually go down, and then mode, which is on here. If I press mode, you can see its cycles got rain, road and sport. So that's I'm leaving it in rain because I've only done 160 miles on it, so it's a brand new engine and I want to take it nice and steady. Let's turn that off again. This is an aftermarket. This is an Oxford clock. The little watches there, you get a bracket that you connect onto the nearest available bit of non-structural ironwork. The reason why I've done that, if I stand back here, like you can see, I can't turn it sideways. The reason why I've done that is because I want to have the rev counter in here rather than the clock, and you can't have both. You just scroll through using this button, and you get tyre pressure and rev counter and range to empty and things like that. But I'd rather have it on the rev counter. So I've got a little clock there to match in, and so that's all hip and groovy. Don't need to worry about that anymore. You can see the original dash was up here, but because this has been raised up now, that they've put the dash the dial gauge is below, so that it occupies almost the same place as before, so you don't need longer cables and so on. And then we're moving on. Here's a bit of luck, the Solo Carrier. I got this from Amazon for the princely sum of £65. It's a nice piece of kit. It's a solid bar and it's quite firm. Well, it is firm, not quite firm, it's firm. And the original one with the dealer bought, this bracket sticking out connects onto the screw which is in there underneath the seat. So the carrier starts back there under the seat and comes up to here, and of course it doesn't fit, although it's sold as a lowrider ST carrier. But because of this extra padding on the back, that no longer fits these models. But on Amazon there was a photograph of it on with that seat, so I knew it was all going to be good. So that was lucky. The silencers, I've got an S&S slip-on. I've left the baffles in at the moment, but it's quite mild, so I may take them out. I like a little bit of noise without too much annoying the neighbours. They had a chrome one, and I like a bit of bling, but they don't do the Iron Horse in chrome. It's all black. So you can see that I've got chrome heat shields, got one more to come. Was on back order, but the dealer tells me it's now been released off of back order, so it's on the way. So once that last section is in, they'll fit that because I've already paid for it, and that gives the bike oh yeah, if I last long enough, you can see if I lean back a bit, that gives the bike a nice little bit of bling, and that chrome sets off the end of the fins, which are polished, and the tube push rod tubes. So this is all black because I wanted a chrome, but they don't do it. So that was that. Forward footrest, look, you can see the original ones are about here. They come off this bracket in a ungodly manner like that, come backwards and then stick out, and they were raised up in order to give the bike more ground clearance because it's deemed to be sporty, but you just find your knees up round your ears, and I didn't like it at all. And when I went to take my feet off to put them on the ground, you kept catching on this part, which you don't do with the forward footrest. So I'm pleased with that. Engine bars, I like the traditional ones. I don't like the moustache ones. Haven't been out in the dark Oh dear, excuse me, I'm sorry about this cold, but haven't been out in the dark to see if it warrants spotlights on or anything. I don't think it will, because you've got an LED headlight, so I think that's going to be good. Anyway, so hope you like that sort of thing. I did have a mudguard extension on. You can see this stupid Californian thing. I had a little fender extender which stuck out, where are we, came down to about here, so the mud only goes up to there, up to here, look, you can just about see it, instead of all the way up and everywhere. But it fell off. Good job. So I've got to get some double-sided sticky tape and get that put on properly. Don't think there's anything else. You can see our English number plates are horrendously hideous, but that's negated a little bit by having this carrier now that's brought that up, instead of, because on the English bikes people don't like them because you can see that sticks up in the air like a sail and looks awful. You can see, I guess this is the original American number plate bracket, but by law our English brackets have to be 9 inches wide by 7 inches high, I think, so that it can be read by the speed cameras and things. A lot of people have layback number plates now, these brackets, and they will come, they will lay back along the mudguard, and they have illegal small number plates. But the police only really get snotty if you have stupid ones tucked up inside the mudguard and so on like that. But otherwise they're pretty good round here. Anyway, there we are. I think that's about everything. I'm trying to get it all in, trying to remember everything that I've had done. So I hope you like that. I certainly thoroughly enjoyed it so far. I've done 180 miles, 190 miles. Oh, it doesn't matter, I won't have a look. About 190 miles so far. And it just lopes along, running in. It says don't exceed 3,000 RPM. Well, 70 miles an hour is 2,500. No, 3,500 RPM is running in, yeah, and 70 miles an hour is 2,500. So as long as you don't thrash it in the lower gears, it will just lope along at any speed you choose. So there we are. Hopefully I'll be going with the boys away to the Eagle's Nest, which is Hitler's wartime retreat in the Alps, and they're going to have a trip down there. It's about 2,800 miles over 11 days. So that's one of the reasons I got this, because they've all got M8s and they'll all be loping along at 70 or 80, and that wasn't fair on the Evo or the twin cam that I had. And I can't keep 3 bikes, so you can see now I have a gap where the twin cam was. And that now has this bike that lives in it. So hope that wasn't too much waffle for you. I'll be going on for about 10 minutes, so I'll leave you with that. I won't fire it up today because I'm getting cold outside and I need to be in the warm. All right, so catch you all again in the next video.